Okay, here we go. Well, welcome everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another episode of Real Raw Mama 2.0 Up Level My Life. This is the Mother Wound series, and I am here with a friend who I'm trying to remember how many years ago. It must have been like 3 years ago maybe we got connected. But Gustavo Gil, who is a mentor, and he's a transformational embodiment mentor committed to helping individuals live from their highest potential by cultivating their inner wisdom and knowing of their true self. With over 17 years of fully devoted personal development and spiritual practices, Gustavo has guided over 2,000 souls and has over 18,000 hours of somatic experiential learning, gaining unique insights and transformative practices that he now shares with clients worldwide. And I actually met him through my mentor at the time, Jess. And so we were both, I think, kind of on the human design tip. So welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to be here. I really appreciate the intro. It's exciting times. This is the kind of thing that I am passionate about speaking about and sharing. So we are so blessed to be here.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Well, everyone knows I usually jump right into the first question. People have sometimes said, wow, that's like a really intense first question to ask. But when you hear the words mother wound, where do you feel that in your body, and really what does that mean to you? Because we all have a unique perspective of what that means to us.
Yeah. I sat with that and now it's different. So I feel like a stream of consciousness that is moving from the top of my head all the way to my feet. And so that's how I'm feeling the mother wound. um yeah, that's where it's at for me at the moment, doing the body scanning. And what's the other part of the question?
What does it really mean to you? Like what does it bring up for you? Some people it brings up a memory, or a story, or just a specific perspective on life even, or just like you said, I loved what you said, it's kind of fluid, because for me it comes up in different moments in different ways.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, what a deep question. And there's many parts to for me to connect with the mother wound. um my relationship to it has changed, but I'm gonna go as like what's the thread of thought to even address a mother wound. um for me, the way that translates, and I'm just gonna speak from what I discover in the dive, somatic diving, right? I feel like I feel better to answer that from that perspective. Is all wounds are universal, and so that's something that I found in my exploration. um so the storyline of wounding of or mother can be very specific to the person, but it ultimately leads to the part where we are reaching out outside of ourselves to complete ourselves. So the way I have found, is a sense of that. For me, that speaks of codependency. So mother wounding is the space where I had created some kind of bond with the relationship to the feminine.
Mm.
And the bonding can be, it's funny to even make this distinction. It's interesting because I find that we're primordial beings, and we do need all of us to be in interrelationship. We need to be in this space of synergy and reciprocity and giving and receiving with any relationship. However, specifically to the mother wound, it's I speak from a universal space, which is the space where I had given my sense of power or sovereignty away to something outside of myself. So that's what that translates to the way I perceive either father wound, mother wound.
Mm.
um, and there's different kind of wounds that we can speak into. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. That's one of the pieces for me, is really, it's that unconditional love that we're continually searching for outside of ourselves, that we can only really ever reflect back to ourselves. Um, And for me, I feel like I call it the mother wound specifically because our mother, maybe not for everyone, but for most people, and we were all grown inside of a mother. So that should have been our first source of feeling unconditional love outside of ourselves.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So there's a very, like, if we want to get into story now, like I could follow that thread.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would love to, yeah, for you to share a
Yeah,
story that
yeah.
relates that.
Thank you. Yeah, because I learned through receiving like what you're speaking in the field, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, I could speak into that in my own personal experience. So yeah, so what I discover around the distinction around unconditional love or conditional love with the mother, right? And so learning that my relationship to my mother, there was limitations and there was things that weren't fully met in the nourishment process of finding a sense of safety and wholeness in relationship to the environment, in this case my home, my mother, my father. And so that speaks to wounding, right? If we don't, when we don't have our needs met, which I had done the work to nourish and understand what my deep needs were from the developmental phases of childhood. So I'm so grateful to be here at this moment because I have been able to track that whole process of, wow, okay, what is the source of life that wants to give me the information to nourish the parts of me that felt a deficiency, that felt a lack of something. And so that's been the journey for all these years, is to really understand specifically what there were. At a somatic biological level, those are very basic needs. So wounding is just a sense of, for me now, the way I understand it is the parts that I was not sourcing from creation, from life. I would say that's the mother, the cosmic mother, or
Yeah.
the the universal mother, the mother that nurtures all sentient beings. And so I started connecting to that, being in relationship with that, and then it informed my body of like, oh, okay, well, I'm not. I feel like there's parts in my body that feel a deficiency or a lack. Now, how do I give that back to a space where it feels like I'm whole and that I receive or can give to myself the things that I did not receive from my developmental phases of childhood up until now? Mhm.
Yeah, it's quite the journey of learning to be your own source.
Yes.
And I really love, I'm actually in this program right now called Encompass Life, and they have a program called Abracadabra within that. And it's all about, words and magic and just being aware of like the word safety versus security and how that feels in your body. And it's truly like security is more like you can feel it. It's just like you feel it within yourself, whereas safety is something that you need things to be different outside of you in order to feel safe, whereas security comes from within.
Yeah, that's a beautiful. I resonate with that. So I would say security is even better than using the word safety at this point, because we're looking for resonance. Like we're morphic beings. So what I mean by that is we are, when we open up to the spinal movement of oceanic origins in our body, which is understanding that we are fluid and our spine is fluid. This is all like from developmental phases of moving and shaping into a human, from the fetus stage into becoming a full grown human. And so we are fluid. Um, and if we come back to that fluidity, then we're looking for resonance. What are the words? What is the language that speaks to my essence? So those are the inquiries that I am articulating based on my alignment to this perspective, right? So for me, when you said that, it's like, yeah, that feels really right. It's to feel secure versus safe, and then you could nurture and cultivate that within yourself, within your own resourcing with life.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Well, so what are, out of all the things that you've moved through, which we all move through different, we've all come here for different things, although I feel like at some point we all end up experiencing a lot of similar things in different forms.
Yes.
But through all of that, like what has allowed you to receive like the totality of your journey, all of the trials and tribulations and things that were uncomfortable and things that were probably magnificent, has allowed you to receive like all of it as a gift?
Wow. Very, very profound questions. And it's like a threefold answer. So I'm going to put three things and then it actually makes a whole, right? Because your questions are very multi-layer. That's the way I'm receiving them. So I would say, um, hmm, I would say that it hasn't been one thing. It's been like an opening of different understandings of the journey to come back to a space where I feel whole and to remember myself as a whole being. Um, and so there's been, I acknowledge one fold of the three-part thing that I'm sharing right now is not seeing us as we're flawed or broken or we need to be fixed. What I learned is like, oh wow, there's actually a gift in this contraction in my body. Like I have felt so my own signaling of body awareness, like, oh, there's a contraction in my body. What is that informing me of? Am I, is there, what is that contraction about? Is it, am I in victim consciousness? Am I giving my power away to a circumstance, a story, a person, um, the government, anything outside of me? And
Right.
so when I track that in my body, I could feel if I compromise the essence of my source. And so that's one awareness, but it's with the perspective and from the lenses of perception that I'm not I'm not here to fix myself or even to transcend this idea that I'm wounded. It's more so like, oh, that's even a story. Being wounded is part of a story.
Right.
However, it's not to say that I'm right about what I know or this is wrong. It's more so just changing the lenses where we're looking at the bigger picture. So it's like, okay, I'm looking from here, and then that's what I see. Then if I look from here, I could see the whole kaleidoscope of how there's a full spectrum to how we can come back into wholeness. And so we have different pathways, but the wounding part is it's very vital for some people to move through that, and including myself. I went through that for some seasons to understand my own story, my own like subconscious programming, like the way I was thinking about my life, my relationships. And so that's one piece. The other piece will be, let's see, so that's one the one part of the three things. Changed our perception to how we relate to the wounding, and it changes our orientation to how we resource our self-awareness through our body. So orientation of what we think is true can change based on from the lenses of perception we're looking at this storyline. So it's a storyline. Oh, what I wanted to say is it serves a purpose. What I discovered now in my journey is that we have related through with humanity through wounding. And so, and then there comes a point where we realize that we don't have to relate from a space of pain or suffering, that we can actually repattern those wounds within ourselves. And so we're able to relate from a much more intelligent part of our cosmology, of our ecosystem. That's what I call it. So our body, or the next piece of that that connects to what I've done in this experiment of life with somatic experiencing for that many years, is I was able to have a transcendental um, awareness of like who is my true self, right? If I'm not my story, then what am I? And then I was able to bring those two things together: the awareness of my body, the intelligence of the feminine, the mother, the cosmic mother in the body, with the I am. Like if I am not my story and I am beyond my story, then I'm unfolding potential, and there's an emergence that's happening through who I am that is speaking to something that's greater than my story. And so that's my orientation. That's how I speak from this space, because I realized that that was my sense of being here being in the world but not of it, without bypassing, which is huge, because there's a lot of things in spiritual communities where we ascend and transcend, but it's not integrated, it's not fully embodied, right? That's why I said I'm passionate about doing embodiment work, because
Mm.
we could have a higher perspective of who we are, but how do we start living and moving from that space in a cohesive, coherent way on a daily basis?
Yes. I love that. Actually, I was about to post a video earlier of my son and I, but I do Kundalini yoga every day. And when you open up your practice, you do Satnam, or excuse me, when you close your practice out, you do Satnam, which means literally truth is my name, truth is my identity.
Mhm.
And really, yeah, the wound of what it means to be alive isn't really here to be healed or scrubbed or cleaned or fixed. It is really just the nature of what it is to be alive and be in human form and actually get to experience the multitude of layers of feelings on and yeah,
Mm.
truly what you said is it's all about embodiment, and we don't really see that in a lot of religions. It's always about transcending this life, this body, this lower state of being, and this is what we came for.
That's right. I totally agree with that. That we're meant to metabolize with humanity. I would say, but also learn what is ours and what is someone else to metabolize. So that's the resourcing. Like when we have a somatic practice, it's like, okay, that's what I'm meant to move through within myself. And then there's sometimes it's about learning how to not enable, because that's also mother wound too, speaks to parts where we have allowed the feminine to enable our ourselves, right? The feminine within, or a mother, or a nurturing archetype, because there are, the reality can be harsh, right? This world can be painful and harsh, and so so then we go and we overly
Nature is not always nice.
yes, yes. So I'm just speaking to that, right? There's a tenderness of our evolution as a species. I speak that way because it is my truth of how I see humanity as like where there's a wave of a rising consciousness of a certain amount of population in the planet that are listening to this evolution within, and we're actually universal humans. And someone like Barbara Hoover spoke to this, like she called humans homo luminous, and this process of evolution of consciousness through humanity. And so that's what I feel is true for me at this time. And I just referred to Barbara Hoover because she has such a eloquent, beautiful way to speak to this process. But going back to how that ties to maybe spiritual principles, like you doing Kundalini yoga, and maybe Buddhism, and like how can we be compassionate, right? How can we have compassion for our process, and our suffering, and how can we show up to really not just say, oh, I'm compassionate, but really, like, what does that mean individually? And I don't think compassion is always seen by everyone, because people can only see sometimes based on where they are in their own perception of reality. So there's filters and there's limitations to how much can someone see anything based on their own filters. But yeah, so all we can do is show up, do our best. I have a mantra that I share. I say, I lean in with love and care, and the universe and God takes care of the rest. And so when I say that, it's like I'm checking my own ego or sense of grasping of control of anything, because I'm not necessarily
I'm
um,
I'm writing this down. I lean in with love and care, and
here.
let God
God
take.
and the universe takes care of the rest. I've been working with that for since 2020, because I that was the next to answer the part of your question. On 2020, I felt a really big calling to Holy Spirit and the Father consciousness. So that's 2020. And I had to let go of this idea of what my purpose was back in 2020. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and it should be like this. And like, yeah, you really want that? It's like, careful what you wish for. And then I felt like I was on a depression for like a whole year, and then it wasn't depression. I realized that I was going through a big metamorphosis, like a big shedding of like
Yeah.
my identity that year. And it's an ongoing process, now self-realization, the way I see it, is just saying we're universal. Well, if we can see it from like, we're not just masculine or feminine, we are non-dual. I mean, we are that, but when we create a unification and we resolve conflict within, then we go beyond polarization within our resourcing. It's a very visceral experience with somatics. The somatics, the line of where I learned this from was from Emily Conrad from Continuum. I studied with two or three different teachers, that were from that line of practice. And the midline comes from this universal way of receiving the breath of life that informs our bodies of wholeness and interconnectedness and fluidity with all sentient beings. And so that's what I really, when I touched that, that was my pivotal time in 2012, where I touched that point of like, oh yeah, like this is the truth for me. Like this visceral experience of unity is the truth. And therefore I just chose to continue to align or practice into that space, because it helped me understand deeper my own wounding, my own fragmented thinking of like, oh, okay, my own dual way of thinking, and then going into what I call the universal human. And then the work that Barbara spoke to, the Homo luminous, is like we're in this process of emerging as a new iteration of consciousness that's emerging in the planet right now through many, I would say, I'm not sure how many, but I would say many thousands of people are kind of have now an opportunity to step into that bandwidth.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of talk this year about what some people are calling the new human. So,
Yes, yeah, and yeah. So we've been sharing here a lot. So thank you. You're so open.
yeah. Well, so I would love for you to, well, actually, you kind of mentioned it a little bit, or maybe, I don't know, maybe these aren't your core values, but I love to always ask people, and you can have more than one or two, obviously, but like,
Mhm.
what are your two core values that really shape how you walk the earth?
Okay. I would say kindness. I'm working on that. Against this 2020, like
I think that's an ever evolving journey. I thought I've been in my really kind era with most people until it comes to maybe one or two people.
yeah, that's been an orientation, because I do like the something that speaks from Buddhism. It's like, how can I see um, practicing this idea that everyone, there's only one here, which is one of us, and then everyone is just like playing an aspect of the full spectrum of reality. And so if I hold that way of seeing, then I would say my value is to have compassion for myself and kindness. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I had moments where I'm not always there, and I have a son. Things get challenged sometimes around learning how to be more firm. Yes, no boundaries, like how to create environments that feel kind and caring. I'm just thinking about my son, since he's close by here. But the other one is what I continue to come back into is it's sovereignty. And sovereignty is like my own exploration of what integrity with my sense of self is.
Hmm.
And so that's been also a journey. It's years since 2020. It's like, oh, sovereignty, what does that mean to feel free? So sovereignty ties for me with freedom, of being able to feel fully empowered without being a victim of the outside world, the government, people. So for me, core value, I'm not sure if between sovereignty and freedom are very similar for me. Hmm.
I love that. I'm definitely all about freedom. And I think, yeah, in order to have true freedom, you have to truly own everything about yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a lot of responsibility sometimes.
Yes, yeah. I know that we're without bypassing, right? It's like we're morphing, we're transmuting, shedding, and those are the cycles that the somatic practice has taught me how to honor. Sometimes I get impatient. I want to get somewhere, and then it's like, oh, this is all like really good fertile soil. This shedding is like it's the cultivation of the gifting. Human design speaks of that. The self, not self, the gift.
Mm.
So if you look at it from the perspective of human design or Richard Rudd, it's like that is all raw material for us to really step into gifting, which is embodiment of our gifts that is uniquely well articulated by each individual based on your design. So I highly resonate with those teachings as well. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I would love for you to share through your design and what you've came here for. What are the tools that you offer to your clients, and how specifically do you work with your clients? And yeah, just like tell us what you do. You're a mentor, but everybody mentors differently. So just
Yes, yes. So for me, I invite people to this exploration of true freedom, like what it is to be a universal human, like the exploration of self-realization. And so that is my focus, that I've been really claiming that in the last year, because it's what I brings me most alive, most passionate, so I could help people in many different ways. I could say, okay, let's work on anxiety and calm you and help you calm and feel better and learn how to regulate your even nervous system. By the way, we're changing. I'm thinking
just
like,
yesterday I told my friend nervous.
no, don't say nervous system. It's like we should say your system of nerves or something, right? It's the system that has nerves for you to feel and perceive reality through the body, through the senses. So there's probably a better way now to even say nervous system, like your system of the nerves. I don't know. There's probably another way.
Your system of feeling. I mean, it really is what allows you to feel everything. So
Yeah,
which,
yeah. So
which
I'm even
isn't
playing
always
with
pleasant.
those words, yeah. And because words do create a certain experience within ourselves, and so it's really interesting.
They cast spells.
That's right, 100%. So I would say that although I could help people in this space of learning how to deeply anchor embodiment of self-awareness, of like, okay, here's when I feel grounded. I could be the witness of my thoughts, my feelings. That is people will say that's a transcendental space. Yet what's different is there's a visceral connection. I can guide people into finding their anchor point to really, really harness that awareness from within themselves. So I have a method. I was told not to even attach to the method. You just got to call it something. It's called the Harmonic 3R method. I've been using it and guiding my clients through that process since 2017. I work mainly in one-on-one in a 90-day container. And basically, again, it's not about the method. That's part of what I also woke up to. It's like, it's not the method. It's basically guiding people into their own inner knowing. And then the beautiful thing of that is that they're able to articulate what is true for them and know that truth might change, or there's another layer that can be peeled 2 years later, 3 years later, and it might mean something different 3 years down the road. But the anchor point is what I call the baseline. So it's where someone can really get this experience where the nervous system goes into feeling secure, or the system of the nerves feels secure. In real time, we're changing this, right? And then if you can, I need to drink a little something here.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Should have brought my blue bottle over here.
Need a little bit of more of a drink. Hold on.
No, go ahead. I always say it's the throat chakra. I always have different experiences with my voice.
Give me a moment, okay? One moment.
Yeah. Well, during this brief little break, I am going to just share a little bit about a new product that just came into my life. It's probably not new, but it's new to me. It's Carbon 60. It's these little strips that you actually put in your mouth, on your tongue, and you just let it dissolve. Carbon 60 is 300 times more powerful than vitamin C. And I think it's like 8 times more powerful than turmeric. So pretty amazing stuff. And like instant energy, brain fog gone. It's really powerful.
Hmm. I'm back. Yeah, I need a
All
little bit
right.
more
That
water.
was a perfect little segue for, I'm like, I need to actually start cutting in little little promos in.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful.
There's always a product to share. That's what I'm about, is finding the best of the best.
Yeah, yeah, and products that will give you that information that cues your body of optimal living, because it activates things that, there's definitely, clearly, there's challenges being in this planet with the amount of stuff and the
So many.
toxins and heavy metals and all of that.
Yeah, it's I mean, with
I'm with you.
the work that you do, yeah, it's incredibly challenging for people to move even into those spaces of thought and feeling when their body is so just overwhelmed by a toxic load. So,
Yeah, compromise, basically
yeah.
toxic load. It really, yeah, it's hard to function that way. I totally understand. Yes, so I get that. I also, down throughout the years, I help people with chronic issues as well, because that baseline is, again, very universal, because it allows your own innate intelligence to again just guide you into, like, what is the next step in the sequence of uh, waking up into the spiral of expansion within my system, to expand, to receive, to nourish. Like, what is that next step? So if everyone gets that baseline in a somatic practice, it helps them become self referential. It's like, okay, now this is the next thing that I need to receive, or and everything is information, right? It's just a supplement, or even a cue, or touch, even at the most instinctual primordial level. A lot of healing can happen when we learn how to self-soothe, or find ways to do it, or even, yeah, be okay to receiving those from outside sources, like
Yeah.
get a massage therapist to, like, massage you. I had trauma with, like, touch when I was, since from childhood, because I went through a traumatic event when I was 2 years old,
Mhm.
and I wasn't able to receive my mom's touch and nourishment for like
Oh,
a whole
wow.
month, like a whole month. It affected my immune system. It affected my. I
Wow.
discovered that created a disassociation, a fragmentation, because, like, hell's no, I'm not gonna be in this world. It's fucking suffer. It's hell. It's painful.
Wow. Welcome back.
Yeah, well, that's what your soul would say, right? Like, I'm not just being playful, saying, like, hopefully you lighten up. I understand there's a lot of people who, are in their tender process. I've been through many phases of tenderness, of feeling, yeah, very tender, and with health issues and things like that. So I understand it's something to be delicate about. Yeah.
So what are some of the tools? Because I love to ask everyone I come across this, because at the end of the day, we can think we know all the things, and when we're in our houses and we're alone and we're not being bothered by anybody. But what are the tools that you use and teach to help bring someone back to center, to, like you said, to that self-nurturing place
Yes.
where I can either remove myself from the chaotic environment, or I can just like do pattern interrupt, or something to keep me from reacting instead of responding with more ease.
Yeah. So the unique way, I have a unique way to get people to connected to the breath of life. Is not necessarily like breath work or holotropic breath. It's biological breath. It's learning how to receive that from different parts of your body. Usually people receive it from the top of your head. It's similar to cranial sacral. If you get to go, it's that system of allowing the natural intelligence of your body to come to homeostasis. So I do grounding with the breath of life. I guide that process, and then the body gets to the point I'm able to guide the client or the person into where they can get to that point of a reset at the system of the nerves, nervous system at that level is like a deep reset, right? It's where there's a restorative process that starts happening. So that's basically that's as much as simple like I could say, because then that takes care of a lot of the imbalances. As when people go dive deep into that, it's one layer, and then the deeper layer is understanding your unconscious programming, which has to do with your own storyline. So it's that combined with understanding your subconscious mind and fully understanding what those storylines are for you, and then transcendental awareness. So I combine the three ways of supporting someone for them to tap into what's truly emerging within themselves in their own unique way. That is most alive and most aligned with the intelligence of life.
I love it. It's
Yeah.
definitely all about rewriting the patterns that are running and the programs and the voices that are going on in the background constantly.
Yeah. Yes.
And also sometimes it's just about allowing them to play and not even getting drawn into it. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to be the witness, and but also without leaving the body. That's the key thing, right? And that's why I say grounded, practical spirituality is like there's people who can access, be the witness, but they're not. They're still disassociating from
right.
really being in the evolutionary process of the collective movement of reinforming this biology, this field of consciousness. And as you said, I'm in agreement, is that we're all in this together. We're here like moving through it together in different ways.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, there's personal stories, there's astrology, there's collective energy. It's a lot to be alive on this planet. So, what are your two favorite, either or not two, but either or it could be one or both, but a book or an audio that like is the catalyst that you feel, at least for yourself, or that you
Mhm.
found to be a huge catalyst for people in exponential growth,
Mm.
or just awareness, just something that's just like like an epiphany that you're remembering, really, which is more what we're always doing. We're not really, that's another thing I learned too recently in this abracadabra, is that the word learning versus remembering, like we are
Mhm.
remembering.
Mhm. Yeah, that remembering comes from this greater idea or perspective that everything is already created and done. So if we're remembering, we're just accessing that timeline, that space of, oh, okay, I have access to that. It's like everything, it's already created. So remembering is because it's already done. That's the way I see it. That's the way I would connect those two things. But I would say the epiphany for, repeat that again, the epiphany for something that's going
Just
to
just
accelerate or,
just
yeah.
an aha moment about something that could cause a major shift in your life.
Hmm.
And I feel like some of these things we hear over and over again, because you hear a lot about the law of attraction or manifestation or all these different
Yeah.
things, and you hear about how words create your reality or thoughts and all these different things, but sometimes you have to hear it in different places from different people, and something just kind of clicks for you.
Yes. Yeah. So I would say the biggest epiphany that really moved me in throughout the years is been listening to my source of pain, and
Hmm.
then that informed me to unravel from all the things that were keeping me in the pain. So I would say the pain has a gift, and so how you relate to pain can be rewired. But that's the journey. Like if we go and tie that to, if we're able to see everything as a gift, we can undo ourselves or shift into feeling a victim of anything to then opening up to the miracles of life, right? It's like we're in, so that's what started happening for me in so many ways and levels, because my life wasn't working well and there's always challenges, but it was freaking hell for some time. Back in 2012, I was like, man, I can't, why am I doing this to myself? So I basically, the biggest epiphany is that I had a very twisted or difficult way of relating to pain that I had to change within my own uh, way of receiving information. So that's, I would say that most of humanity has a very dysfunctional, if you want to use the word, way of relating with pain and suffering. And then ultimately, the gift that I got from doing somatic experiencing for this so many years is that we get addicted to these ways because it has a biological response which is unconscious. So basically, if you end up attracting something that is difficult, sometimes it's because your biology, it's calling it in to fulfill that biological explosion within you, like that biological chemistry that you came to with. And so it's not your fault, but it's understanding that you could change the biochemical responses within your body. Yeah.
That actually reminds me of an incident that happened in my life last week.
Oh my
God. More on that later.
Yeah.
Well, I know we could probably talk for a whole nother hour, but what is like a statement of love that you would offer to the world that really just embodies who you are and how you walk the earth and how you like people to remember you?
Wow. I like to be remembered as someone who just casually and gently guides an opening for a remembrance of beauty and kindness and true feeling of remembering that we can experience unconditional love in relationships. And so that will be my statement. I didn't think about it, it just came through. So that's what I feel
Wow.
true at this moment is kindness, gentleness, being able to open ourselves into the flow of life where we can experience a thriving life, and to make those distinctions and to be able just to be the embodiment of sharing from that space more and more. So that is how I want to be remembered by. But who is me, right? It's like, it's not about remembering me. It's like I'm choosing to at this point to be a universal human, which is what we spoke about earlier, which is like it's really less and less about me as a person. But yes, I am still playing a human story. I'm still a dad. I'm doing laundry. I got to do things. I have preferences, right? I'm cleaning the house. I don't. I have preferences. We have preferences. Like, I like white. I don't like yellow, kind of things. So I'm still playing the human game, but in a way, what is the shortest sentence is to be in the world and not of it, in a grounded, practical way without bypassing. There you go.
I love that. That's perfect.
Yes.
That's perfect. So before we sign off, are there any particular projects you're working on or any offerings that you're wanting to unveil or share or direct people to?
Yeah. So what has been nudging me forward is to start facilitating groups. And so if I have enough people interested, I'll do like a cohort of an exploration in this work with the things that I mentioned here. I do, because that for me speaks of growing community and then ultimately coming together as in person with being able to cultivate and grow an ecosystem with a group of people, relating from a point of resonance from this space that we're speaking from. So I feel called to that, but right now immediately I'm open to being a match for two more clients for my evolutionary mentorship. So that's what's open right now. That's what's in the path. And I highly recommend anyone to join before the end of the year. just because. Some people may need to, instead of investing in material things, they might want to invest in themselves. So right now it's the evolutionary process, and then sharing my program for one-on-one, and then the group thing is something that may come together. I'm going to see if that how that unfolds. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I think that group mentorships can often be a really powerful doorway for a lot of people, because sometimes high level coaching is not necessarily within everyone's means. And also, I feel like people learn really well in group settings oftentimes and feel more inspired by others.
Yeah, and this is the vision that I have, Jess. Like right now is, um, imagine if we have a group where everyone is aligning and calibrating to their gift, and they're starting learning how to truly articulate that in words and in resonance. The level of nourishment is always there. That's the realization when we remember that we're not blocked from the source of life, the vitality, the aliveness, the cohesiveness, the flow of gifting that comes from groups creates this greater flow for a thriving ecosystem. And I seen it. I facilitated. I was part of a group last year, or a little more than a year, and I was a community coach. And because I was showing up this way, the whole ecosystem of the company grew, and the nurturing was way better. The people grew and changed, reframed their whole like business to fulfillment and gifting, in that process, right? Of me being as part of that ecosystem. I'm not saying that it was all me, it was a collective creation, right? But so that's what's possible in groups. It's like we learn to see what the gift is, what is like the harmonic convergence within a group, and then that has its own intelligence, and that can inform us all into a more, I would say, into a thriving experience, to feel inspired and in flow, and even feel more held, and or strengthening that I would say, like we're like immune cells, like we're the immune system of the planet. So if we all strengthen our immunity together, like imagine what can blossom from that. I just want to leave it open to think about
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
No, I love that. Well, I'm calling in your cohort in 2026. I will refer people to it. We can set it up.
Thank you. Thank you for being open to imagining with me. We're imaginary cells. We're like the butterfly, we're before, we're
The
what's before,
metamorphosis,
yeah,
the
but
cat.
what's the caterpillar? And there's some people are saying that in the next 2 years we're just like liquid goo, and
I mean, yeah,
becoming
literally.
imaginary cells to turn into butterflies.
I mean, 2026 is supposed to be the fastest year yet, so it's going to be, well, who knows?
Mm,
But
yes.
yes, well, thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, looking forward to more. Perhaps we can do another series. I really liked what you talked about in regards to pain, because I feel like that's it's a very deep topic for some people.
Yes, yes. And I'm happy to help anyone rewire their relationship to pain, because I gone through it myself, and I understood why I was relating to pain that way, of years of conditioning, years of like my programming from childhood and my ancestors. So it goes back to the ancestral line. You could carry that, and we're again morphine and alchemizing and evolving as a human. And there's people in this conversation here that you and I are having that maybe they know and are aware that they're like the cycle breakers of their lineage, right? And so that's some of us. I was one of those, and I woke up to that, and it's like, oh man, I have to change my relationship to pain, because it's not helping me at all.
This is not sustainable.
That's right, it's not sustainable. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom. And yeah, I look forward to more. And may something unexpected and wonderful happen for all of us today.
Uh,
Oh, where can people go to your on social media, or do you have a site where you can send people?
For now, I'm gonna have a landing page soon, but just my social media. You could just
Okay.
post and then I'll have I work through people with people there through DMs and connect that way for now. That's changing soon. But before we go, I want to acknowledge you for the beautiful reflection, being a beautiful mom, and just really thank you
Yeah.
for bringing this space for people and just inviting this conversation. May this your presence and your gifting and this conversation bless anyone that's out there listening. So thank you again for hosting me today and for being in this conversation with me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.